Good evening, everyone. My name is Amaris Hood, and I am the community educator here at Bivona Child Advocacy Center. And I am also the facilitator for the Spencerport District for Child Safety Matters. Amaris is my given name. Most of you probably know me more by Miss Tippy, which is what the children call me. So tonight is a parent information session to let you know exactly what we're saying and exactly what we're doing in the classrooms. Please forgive my coughing. My throat is a little bit dry and a little bit rough from talking earlier today. So I'm going to get started right with the presentation. At the end, you can type in your questions into the Q&A, and I will address those at the end of the presentation. So if you have any questions that you want to ask. So let's get started. So the Child Safety Matter lessons come from the Monique Burr Foundation, and this is basically a curriculum that this is the curriculum that we use. So K through fifth grade, we use Child Safety Matters, and sixth grade, we use Teen Safety Matters, which is 3 separate lessons. For Child Safety Matters, it is kindergarten through fifth, those separate age lessons. And then for high school, we also have Teen Safety Matters. For those of my parents who have children who attend Cosgrove Middle School, they'll be getting the Teen Safety Matters, the 6th through 8th grade curriculum. So what does Child Safety Matters cover? Child Safety Matters in lesson 1 covers general safety and prevention, right? So in lesson 1, we talk about body safety, shared responsibility, the different types of abuse, who harms kids and how, safe and unsafe strangers, and safe adults, and the safety rules. So at the foundation of these lessons are what we call our 5 safety rules. And we build on the 5 safety rules to teach the kids how to help to keep themselves safe. Now, in the one bullet point about responsibility, one of the things that we say during the lesson, that is said during the lesson, is we define what is responsibility. This is something that we say 3rd through 5th grade. And we talk about responsibility and how the older you get, the more responsibility you will have, and how it's important that we are able to make safe choices concerning our safety. And then I also say that it's the responsibility of the adults in your life. And I don't use the terminology. You'll hear your children use the term safe adult, or as I like to call them, sometimes I call them their big person. So if you hear them say something about their big person, that's also safe adults, because we know that households have different people who are parents and guardians. So we also say in those lessons that it is the responsibility of the adults to keep you safe in your life, and that their responsibility, or their shared responsibility in that effort, is to use their voice in order to help keep them safe. So those are some of the things that we cover in lesson 1. Now, in K through 2nd, we talk about the types of abuse differently than what we would in 3rd through 5th. K through 2nd, we only talk about abuse with words and abuse to the body. And then the term sexual abuse isn't started to be used until 3rd grade. And that's where we talk about the 4 types of abuse: physical abuse, neglect, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse. And all of those things are covered in lesson 1. All of these lessons are broken down in a timely manner that is age appropriate. So for kindergarten, the lessons are, I do believe, 30 to 35 minutes. And with 5th grade going all the way up to 55 minutes. There's videos that accompany each lesson also. Then in lesson 2, we come back later on and we do lesson 2. Still building off of those 5 safety rules, we talk about bullying. We help kids make the connection that bullying is a type of abuse, either emotional or physical. So we talk about making that connection. We talk about cyberbullying and what that may look like. We talk about abuse in both lessons that may come from people you know, as well as people you don't know. So do we talk about safe and unsafe strangers? Absolutely. And we also, once again, in lesson 2, hit on the safe adult being that person that you can go to and you can talk to if something is wrong. So these are the 5 safety rules that we teach the children. I'll just run through them really quick for you. So know what's up. So the safety rules have those movements to them. So we teach them these movements, and we also teach them the safety rule itself. So the first one is know what's up. Knowing what's up means knowing that personal information. We encourage the kids to know the younger children, K through 2nd, to know your first and last name, your address, and to memorize at least one safe adult's cell phone number. We also encourage them to know their parents' first and last name, right? Some of our younger children in kindergarten or so, they might not know that your name is Amaris. They might think your name is Mommy. So we give them the examples of, if you should get lost and you ask for your parent's name and you say Mommy, how many mommies are going to come? Because there's a lot of mommies in the world. So we stress the importance of knowing that important information and not sharing that information. 3rd through 5th, we talk about that important information, but then we also say that know what's up is that awareness of what's going on around you. We also mentioned that in 6th grade also, that it's an awareness of where exits are and what's safe and what's not safe. And then, so we also talk about those in the 2nd one. And then safety rule number 2, which is spot red flags. So you and I, in our adult language, would call red flags grooming type behaviors, but we don't call it that with the children. We call them red flags, the things that could potentially be dangerous, or those behaviors that are hurtful. You will hear in the lesson a lot, the children will hear me say safe and unsafe behavior. I will give them some examples and ask them, is that behavior safe or is it unsafe? So we talk about those red flags. We talk about the difference between a secret and a surprise. We talk about unsafe language. We talk about unsafe touches. And when we talk about unsafe touches to our body, we talk about physical abuse with the older children. And with the younger children, we say abuse to the body. And then with the other type of abuse, we say, instead of emotional abuse with our younger children, we say abuse with words with the younger children. Safety rule number 3, make a move. That's the one they really kind of like, because they get to kind of pretend like they're running, or they run in place, get some really good movement in there. So basically that move is that rule is, once you've spotted a red flag, once you realize that a situation is not safe, we want you to get away and stay away. And that's exactly how I teach it to them in the class. Making a move means to get away and stay away from that unsafe situation. And when you make a move, you're going to make a move towards your safe adult, and you're going to do safety rule number 4, which is talk it up. Talk it up encourages children to use their voice. With the younger children, K through 2nd, we say use a strong voice. In 3rd through 5th, we say using an assertive voice. Also in 6th grade, we talk about using assertive voice. We tell them that using that assertive or strong voice isn't being mean, but it's saying it in a way that lets your safe adult know what you're saying is important. We also talk about the fact that talking it up is not tattling or snitching. It's reporting unsafe behavior, and that it's always okay to report that unsafe behavior. Talk it up is where we also talk to them about their safe adults and what it means to be a safe adult. And we give them handouts for those safe adults. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. And then safety rule number 5 is no blame, no shame. So no blame, basically we're telling the children that when you talk it up, when you go to your safe adult, they will believe you, they will help you, and you won't get in trouble when you're reporting unsafe behavior. And no shame is letting them know that everyone's, with the older children, we kind of take it from everyone's made a mistake. So you getting help because you may have been in an unsafe situation, there's no shame in that. And we let children know that it's not your fault if someone is making them feel unsafe. And it's never too late. So we talk about a safe adult, right? So when we talk about a safe adult in the lesson, we tell the children that they should get at least 2 safe adults, one at home and one at school. A safe adult is someone a student can go to if they've ever been hurt or feel unsafe. We also let the children know that even if they're not sure if a situation is unsafe or not, if safe or unsafe, they can still go to their safe adult and talk it up with their safe adult. Now, how does the child identify a safe adult? They should choose someone who's an adult and can get them help if they are ever hurt or unsafe, someone they can talk to about difficult topics. We talk about the difference, but we talk about what does a safe adult look like? And I may ask them some questions like, who could be your safe adult at home, or who could be your safe adult at school? Of course, at school, the teacher, the principal, and we encourage them to have more than one safe adult even at school, because we know that their teacher is going to be that safe adult in the classroom. But what about if there's a substitute? Is there another safe adult that you could go to? So we have that conversation with them about school. And then at home, we also encourage them to have a safe adult. Some of them may say, oh, my brother or my sister, they're 17, they're 18. We encourage them to use adults or to have a safe adult that could help them if they ever get into some type of unsafe situation. So we go back to talking about responsibility and what does a responsible safe adult look like and what should they do, what are some of those characteristics. We do have sometimes children who want to say like, oh well, my sister, she's 16 and she's easy to talk to, and I encourage them to choose someone older who can help them. And then we encourage, and then the next slide that we do in that lesson, we talk about a safe friend. So I encourage them to use those siblings and those babysitters and people of that nature in their lives as safe friends. And I encourage them to have safe friends at school and any other place where that they hang out. So some of you parents, you may have been getting these bookmarks, and that is what being a safe adult means. Also, during the lesson, it's not just them sitting and listening, they're interacting. We do what's called safety checks, thumbs up, thumbs down. I ask them questions based on what I just taught them and what they talked about to see if they can answer it. They're true or false questions. There's games that we play. Haven't really been playing a lot of the games this year, only because most of the games require us to get kind of close to each other. So we're keeping our distances this year, but we're finding other ways to get them moving and interactive within the lesson. So one of the things that we do with the children that they really love in the classroom is the touchdown, squat down. So if it's true or if it's safe, we give them a touchdown. And if it's not true or unsafe, they use a squat down. There's scenarios that we'll read. For example, one, if I can think of it off the top of my head, is a neighbor gives you a bike a neighbor that you know very well buys you a bike after he finds out that your bike was stolen. Your parents say that it's okay for you to take this gift. Is that safe or unsafe? And of course, that's a safe one, right? Or another scenario may be a neighbor that you don't know very well ask you to come over and help them take care of the horses in the barn. And you really love to ride horses, and he says that you could ride them when you're done. Now, is that safe or unsafe? And of course, that's a squat down. So I ask them, tell me why it's unsafe. And they give me those answers like, well, because we don't know them very well. We haven't asked permission from our safe adult. So those are some of the scenarios that we also do. And of course, the true or false questions and the essential review at the end is true or false questions that has an overview of the whole lesson. So we have multiple reinforcements that we use in order to like strengthen the lesson. I would like to say today, I'm right now, I'm in Canal View, and today in my last class, the 4th grade class, we actually had a student in 4th grade tell me the 4 types of abuse before we even started the lesson. They retained it from last year. They retained the 5 safety rules from last year, and they were able to tell me what they remembered from last year before we even started the lesson. So one of the reasons why children are able to retain these so well is because we have these reinforcements that we share at the end of the lesson. So at the end of every lesson, lesson 1 and 2, you as parents will get a parent information sheet. On the front is a review of everything that we talked about in the class, every word and terminology, and how it affects you as a safe adult. On the back of it is usually some type of activity or something that you can do with your child to reinforce the lessons in your home. On the back of 5th grade and 6th grade, I do believe for lesson 1, it is, those lessons are reversed. So they talk about cyber safety first, but on the back of those, there's like a contract that you guys can have or an agreement on being safe online on the back of those letters. We also have posters that we give to the teachers. So it's hung up in the class. So they hang it up in the classroom and they're able to see those 5 safety rules every day when they come to class. And of course, there are the bookmarks that they take home, one for the safe adult at home and one for the safe adult at school. On the top of it, it says dear, and they will put their safe adult's name there. So if you are, as the parent, they would put your dear mom, dear dad, dear aunt, dear uncle. They put that on top. You and that as a safe adult would read that with them, and then they sign it and you sign it at the bottom, and it's an agreement that you want to help keep them safe. On the back of that bookmark are the 5 safety rules to remind you of the ways that the steps we take in the 5 safety rules and how we can use them to keep ourselves safe from day to day. So that's like the short overview. This was really quick. I kind of flew through this. There's like a short, so if anyone has any questions at this time, I see that there is one question. I'm going to read it and see if I can answer it. Will the presentation of the slides will be made available to parents for future reference? Yes, this slideshow will be made available. I do believe so. Corey, will parents be able to access this for later on?
Yes, by tomorrow afternoon, the entire presentation will be posted to our website.
Awesome. So yeah, so you will be able to see this by tomorrow afternoon. So I am the person that has been in the Spencerport district for the past 3 years. On this slide right here, this is my information. This is my email at work. Please feel free to take it down if you have any questions. All right. Oh, I have another question. Hold on. Are there lessons for pre-K? At this time, we're not offering any lessons for pre-K. We're only doing K through 6th grade, and we're helping a little bit in 7th grade in the Spencerport district. But I do believe Spencerport is offering it K through 8. 7th and 8 is mostly taught by the counselors in the middle school. I take 6th grade, and then counselors take 7th and 8th grade. The law that put this in place, which was Aaron's law, mandated it for K through 8. And so the beauty of this curriculum that we are using is that not only does it fulfill that body safety requirement, it also fulfills the bullying requirement and the cyberbullying and cyber safety requirement that is put on schools right now. So we're able to get this done in 2 lessons and for it to be effective and for it to stick. I have another question here. All righty. You've provided several examples for Can you give some examples for lessons 7 and 8? So I don't facilitate lessons 7 and 8, but I can tell you that for Teen Safety Matters, which is 6th grade, which are the ones that I facilitate, the counselors facilitate 7 and 8. I do sixth grade. So some of the examples that I can give you for seventh and eighth grade is, one, they start those lessons with cyber safety, right? Instead, they do their lesson one is internet safety, because as we know with our teenagers and our preteens, the internet is it's very much part of their life. So we start with that internet safety and building off of those 5 safety rules with their internet safety. And we also add, I'm so glad you asked this question too. Yes. So we also talk about 2 more types of abuse in 6th through 12th grade. So K through 2nd, we use 2 types of abuse with words and abuse to the body. 3rd through 5th, we introduce them to 4 types of abuse: emotional, physical, sexual, and neglect. And then 6th through 12th, we talk about 6 types of abuse. On top of the 4, we add bullying and relationship abuse, and how it is important that they know about what a healthy relationship looks like and what that is, because we know that around junior high is when those types of relationships and those types of dynamics may start to show. So we talk about relationship abuse. We talk about what that may look like. And we also talk a little bit about, starting in 6th grade, sex trafficking and human trafficking, because we know that a lot of times when our children are targeted, they're targeted online for that type of thing. And it starts about at the ages of about 11 or 12 when children are targeted around 6th grade. So that's some of the examples for 7th and 8th grade, and for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They also have videos for those at every level. There are videos that accompany the lessons. In 6th, 7th, and 8th, they have those videos about relationships, and they give examples about those types of things. K through 5, we have like videos that are kind of like fun, because we're talking about something that's kind of heavy, but they'll do like dog trick videos, and then it leads into talking about safe and unsafe tricks, those types of grooming behaviors that you and I would say are grooming behaviors. We call them red flags or safe and unsafe tricks. And an example of an unsafe trick would be like force, someone forcing you to do something or threatening you. We also talk about that in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade also. I have another question here. How do parents know when more sensitive material, sexual abuse, is covered so we can support the conversation at home? That's a great question. So you will get those letters that come home after every lesson. So when I'm done teaching those lessons, they have that lesson 1 lesson. So for my parents that are K through 5 right now, you should be in Canal View and in Burnaby. You should have, well, I'm done with Burnaby. So you should have both sets of letters, lessons 1 and 2. Burnaby has been completed. So those letters go home after every lesson. So you know the day of that I teach it, that is when I send the lessons home. And they're great. They are great conversation starters, those 5 safety rules, and they can give tips on how to have those conversations. So that's a great question. So look for those letters, parents, so that you can have those conversations and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about in the class that day. Another question, are there any modifications to the lessons for children with special needs? Yes, there are modifications for children to the lessons with special needs. We have grown this year, and we were lucky enough to get 2 special ed teachers that are now facilitating lessons. So I'm glad you brought this up. There is another Bivona person who comes into the Spencerport district. Her name is Miss Vicky, and she will be teaching the lessons to the children with special needs. She has modified those lessons. She's a retired special education teacher, and she wanted to come back to work a little bit part-time. So she's taken on that in your district. So she will be pushing into those classrooms for children with special needs, and modifying those lessons and modifying the activities so that the children can get the most out of those lessons. Do I have any more questions? All righty, so if there's no more questions, I don't see any more. Oh, wait, here we go. One more question here for a third grader. How specific and detailed does the sexual abuse discussion go? That's a great question. So for third grade, how specific into the, so we define what sexual abuse is. We say, we give the definition of sexual abuse, of what it is. We say that we say that it is if someone touches your private body parts. We never say any, we do not use specific names for the private body parts. We just say private body parts, the parts of your body that's covered by a bathing suit, and it's making you feel unsafe. And if they're asking you to touch their private body parts, that's pretty much all we say. We also talk about inappropriate pictures. We do not use the word pornography until 6th grade. So K through 5, we just say inappropriate pictures of people showing their private body parts, or people showing the parts of their body which are covered by a bathing suit. That's how we explain the private body parts. And we just simply give a basic definition of sexual abuse and of inappropriate pictures of people without their clothes on. And that's pretty much how we talk about it. Once we've given that definition, we tell them that that's what we call is a red flag, and that they need to use safety rule number 3, which is make a move, get away and stay away, and then to talk it up to their safe adult. That's pretty much is basic. We go very basic with it in 4th and 3rd grade, and it's kind of the same for each level. That we give the basic definition, we give them the steps that they should take if this is happening. We encourage them to talk it up to their safe adult at home, or if they can't talk it up to their safe adult at home, this is why we give them 2 safe adults, one at home and one at school. So that's pretty much how we talk about it. We basic private body parts. We also stress that there may be times where we may have to go to the doctor, or something is wrong and someone may have to check your private body parts. We also give them information that that's safe, but when they're at the doctor's office, that their safe adult, you as their safe adults, should be in the room with them. So we try to clarify that also. Any other questions? Yes, okay. It's extremely helpful to hear an explanation of this program aimed at parents. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad that I'm hoping that I was helpful. Like I said, I am the one who's doing the majority of the lessons in your district. This is my 3rd year. Some of you parents may know that each building has its own greeting. So that's how we kind of click with the children and go forth with those lessons. So when they see me out in the community, I encourage them to greet me with that building greeting, so I know who they are and where they are and what school they're from. So we I definitely enjoy being in the Spencerport School District. It is a wonderful district. You have amazing children who are so intelligent and so intuitive and smart. But just today in our 4th grade class, we had the one girl who remembered all of the safety rules and all of the types of abuse. And then in that same class, we had a child share with me today. He's like, well, Miss Tippy, why would someone become a parent just to hurt their children? And then he also asked, and there are some questions where I'm just like, I don't know, bud. So if I don't know, I send them right back to you. And I say, have that conversation with your safe adult. And maybe that's something you guys can talk about. And then the other one was when the child told me, Oh, it was so funny. He was saying that, I don't know why we call them strangers because we really don't know if they're strange or not. Shouldn't we just call them unknown adults? I was like, ooh, mind blown. So the children are definitely thinking, and they're definitely on point, and they're definitely being responsible and taking that and in that share, buying into that, sharing that responsibility of keeping themselves safe. So if I don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this right now. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at Bivona Child Advocacy Center. My email is ahood@bivonacac.org. And I'd be more than happy to answer any more questions.
Ms. Tippy, thank you so much for your time tonight. That was very informative. We appreciate the conversation. Thank you to all of our attendees out there tonight. And again, this video will be posted by tomorrow afternoon. The slideshow itself is already on our webpage. So if you go to the Spencerport homepage, you can find that. So please, thank you very much and have a great night.